Meghan Markle, congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Can we start with the proposal and the actual moment of your engagement?
It was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet and natural and very romantic. He got on one knee.
Of course.
Meghan Markle took the world by storm when she married Prince Harry. The California-born overnight princess was nothing less than a beacon of style, forming with her prince one of the most photogenic royal couples of all time.
I think Meghan loves fashion, so she'll have some big fashion moments along the way. She really isn't afraid to experiment with what she's wearing. She will wear bright colours, she will wear amazing dresses, but I think her natural look is very laid back, California, cool, ripped jeans, baggy t-shirts, maybe some sportswear. You know, she really kind of has lots of different fashion moods and looks good in all of them.
Whether she was making an appearance at royal events in London or visiting charities, the Duchess's style was always a manifestation of her classic, modern and ever-elegant persona. From actress to Duchess, Meghan's modern royal wardrobe was intricate, but she effortlessly embodied femininity, grace, chic and classic.
I'm a California girl, born and raised, so the flip-flop culture is part of just who I am. I love my cutoffs and flip-flops and being as relaxed as can be, which is why it's so fun to dress up and play Rachel.
Fashion is about sort of the general concept. So when we're talking about royal fashion, what we're often talking about is the sort of rules and expectations that members of the royal family are expected to follow when they're dressing for the job. Royal style, that's about the particular individual's interpretation of those rules. My name's Rosie Hart. I'm a royal fashion historian and I run the successful TikTok page, The Royal Wardrobe, which is dedicated to royal fashion.
So style is all about inherent elegance, I think. And I think fashion is going with the trends, it's what's on the catwalks, whereas style is ephemeral, it's timeless, and it's really about what you make it as a person rather than following anything that anyone else is telling you to do. So my name is Bethan Holt, and I'm the fashion director of The Telegraph and the author of 2 books on royal fashion.
No, we're thrilled, thank you very much, to both of them. So I hope they'll be very happy indeed.
Meghan Markle became an instant international fashion icon after her engagement to Prince Harry. However, coming from Hollywood, she was no stranger to the spotlight. Her role as Rachel Zane in the US TV series Suits gave the TV star experience when it came to dressing for high-profile events. Though her style had Californian roots, she happened to love all things chic and the classic Parisian style. Balancing the modesty of British royalty with the trends of today was no easy feat, but Meghan proved she was up to the challenge.
Generally speaking, royal fashion follows completely different rules to the rest of the fashion world. They have to stick to more traditional expectations, so particularly conservative fashion, no short hemlines, no daring styles. It's not about being on the cutting edge of fashion. They have to follow quite rigidly some of the more old-fashioned expectations for day wear versus night wear. So during the day, they'll be expected to wear hats, and they'll often have rules about the circumference of the hat base, depending on how formal the event is. Whereas during the evening, they'll be expected to wear a tiara, but again, only if they're married or over the age of 18.
Royal fashion is special because it's this centuries-old tradition. People have been studying what the royals wear for thousands of years, and they've been taking messages from that. And so the royals really have to think very carefully about everything they wear, whenever they're on an engagement, whether it's the state opening of Parliament or whether they're visiting children in a hospital, everyone's going to read into what they're wearing, and so they have to think very carefully about their outfits and the messages that they convey. Before Meghan joined the royal family, she was an actress. She obviously had her role in Suits, and so she was really part of that kind of TV, film industry party scene, a bit of a Hollywood girl. You know, she was born and brought up in LA. So she loved party dressing. She loved that relaxed LA look as well. So it's kind of as far from royal style as you can get, really. Lots of short skirts, lots of sparkly little dresses, but also lots of kind of leggings and ripped jeans and laid back style. So it was very different from the classic princess look that you'd recognise, but she was also really stylish in her own way.
Meghan Markle, her path to the royal family is incredibly interesting because unlike a lot of other royal brides, she already had a public image developed, which included a very distinct sense of style. And this style was tailored to the camera, to publicity, which is sort of similar to what's expected for members of the royal family. But it is very different to what she wore after her marriage. The typical aspects of Meghan's fashion as an actress was sort of knee-length style dresses that were quite structured, but were often quite busy. Either lots of patterns or a mixture of different textures, which isn't something we see a lot with her today. It works very well for the camera. The different textures, the different patterns, they're very interesting to look at, but they're not typically royal.
Prince Harry and Meghan first appeared in public together at the 2017 Invictus Games in Toronto. Both decided to go with casual outfits for the event. Meghan showed up in ripped jeans paired with a white loose-fitting collared shirt, a fun yet untraditional choice for the future Duchess of Sussex. This look stands above the others as it was casual but still effortlessly stylish and chic on her and represented her understated yet powerful presence.
I think my favourite outfit of Meghan's has to be the ripped jeans and white shirt that she wore the first time that her and Harry were ever photographed together at the Invictus Games in Toronto. The reason I love it is because that shirt was by one of her friends, Misha Nunu, and it was called the husband shirt. So it was just a brilliant example of the way that clothes can talk, because of course we knew that, you know, the relationship between these two was really serious. An engagement was probably on the cards, and if you needed any bigger clue than that, I mean, her wearing a husband shirt makes it pretty obvious. And yeah, of course, a few months later, their engagement was announced. So I really liked that she looked very un-princess-like in that moment, but was also very firmly telling us what to expect from the future, simply through the outfit that she was wearing.
Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was what we're doing, just roasting chicken and having
trying to roast chicken.
Trying to roast a chicken, and it was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet and natural and very romantic. He got on one knee.
Of course.
Was it an instant yes from you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I could barely let you finish proposing. I said, can I say yes now?
She didn't even let me finish. She said, can I say yes, can I say yes now? And then there was hugs, and I had the ring in my finger, and I was like, can I give you the ring? And she goes, oh yes, the ring. So no, it was a really nice moment. It was just the two of us. And
On the day Harry and Meghan announced their engagement on November 27, 2017, Meghan noted the occasion with a gorgeous outfit, the star of the outfit being her belted coat from Line, which included a price tag of about $700 and which she wore over a dark green dress. The Meghan effect caused the Canadian brand's website to crash due to the number of people trying to access it. As they posed for engagement photos outside of Kensington Palace, fans were also focused on Meghan's glamorous engagement ring, made up of 3 diamonds, 1 from Botswana and 2 from Princess Diana's collection. It didn't take long after the pictures began surfacing online for people to notice something else: her legs. More specifically, her bare legs. It came as a surprise because the royal family seems to enforce a strict, unspoken pantyhose policy. But Meghan's choice not to wear pantyhose suggests her easygoing demeanour. This didn't mean she disrespected the royal dress code, just that she was maintaining her own sense of style. The engagement marked Meghan entering the realm of birth royalty, and the princess-to-be was about to shake up royal style.
I think what was really clever for Meghan is that she didn't completely change overnight. She didn't go kind of full Duchess. I think she was very determined to find her own way of doing royal dressing. So right from the off, she would wear trousers, which at the time wasn't really a done thing for royal women. But she did recognise that she had to do things in a new way. So she started wearing designs by British designers and showing kind of patriotic symbols with her clothes. So she wore kind of tartan when she was in Scotland, for instance. So she was finding a balance between kind of original Meghan style and royal Meghan style.
When she became the Duchess of Sussex, and even before then, as she started to move into the royal world, she really stripped back her fashion. The foundations were still there. She didn't transform her image entirely. We see lots of her favourite pieces still: big statement coats, trousers as a key element of her wardrobe, and a monochromatic look. But it's often a lot simpler. She favours a simplicity of line, but also a slightly more conservative approach. Her dresses are always an appropriate royal length. Knee length is typical. She still remained true to herself, just with a more polished edge.
I think Meghan loves neutrals because they're really what fashion girls love to wear. It's a very kind of modern, cool look, not to be wearing these kind of brash brights all the time. And so I think she really wants to set herself apart from the other royals, maybe, by wearing these more dialed down colours that are more of a fashiony statement than buying into the sort of really bright hues that we often see royals wearing.
It must be very hard to jump from the life of an adult with quite a large wardrobe as a celebrity to being a royal who is expected to have new outfits for pretty much every single occasion. I think for Meghan, part of the way that she's adapted to this is, rather than have new dresses made for every single occasion, she has lots of pieces that can sort of be paired with new items to give the illusion that what she's wearing is brand new. These neutral pieces, they can fade into the background, so when she wears a pop of colour with them, the outfit feels new, when in reality it's not, which is much better for the environment, which is something that a lot of the royals are very interested in.
All eyes were on Meghan Markle on her wedding day. She and Prince Harry had left everyone wondering about the dress. And given Meghan's distinctive personal style, we all knew her gown would not disappoint. When the big day finally arrived, she appeared in a minimal and traditional but stunning dress with a long flowing train.
Although the dress was very simple in terms of design, there were no beads, there was no lace. The train was magnificent. It was something like 30 feet long. It had roses from every place in the Commonwealth. It was absolutely thoughtfully and beautifully done. Meghan was a spectacular bride, which is what we expected her to be. But what was also interesting to me was she was not interested in flash. She was not interested in upstaging anybody. She was very simple, elegant, and tasteful. This was a very glamorous woman who knows that she knows how to pull off a dress like that. Meghan was absolutely glamorous, radiant, and beautiful, no less than we expected from a Hollywood star.
Meghan's wedding dress is completely different to any other royal wedding dress we've seen before. It was designed by Claire Waite-Keller for Givenchy, which is very interesting.
Meghan surprised everyone, really, by choosing Claire Waite-Keller of Givenchy to design her wedding dress. And while Claire herself is a British designer, Givenchy is a Parisian fashion house, a French designer. And so really that surprised a lot of people because traditionally royal women will choose a British fashion house to design their wedding dress. So it was quite a statement, quite a departure from Meghan, but I think it showed how determined she was to do royal style in her own way.
It is representing this fusion of British tradition with a new external influence, which is really what Meghan is within the family.
I think Givenchy was an especially interesting choice because it had been one of the favourite designers of Wallis Simpson, but also of Audrey Hepburn as well. So you have this kind of incredible legacy behind it. And so for Meghan to be the new kind of famous royal woman wearing it was really interesting. The wedding dress itself was an incredibly simple design, one of the most simple royal wedding dresses we've ever seen.
It's an incredibly simple dress, especially when compared to some of the other royal wedding dresses. The real showstopper element for Meghan's wedding look was her veil, which actually took longer to create than the wedding dress itself. Around the edges of the veil, it's embroidered with the emblems of the different Commonwealth nations, but also with sprigs of wheat, which are a typical royal symbol which represent peace and hope, and also California poppies. To represent her background, in a really touching element, they also included flowers that grow around their home in Kensington Palace, to really bring it back to this personal element that was very important for Meghan and Harry during their wedding celebrations.
I think that was a lovely touch from Meghan, showing her support for the tradition that she was marrying into.
Also a particularly touching moment when Meghan first walked down the aisle to Harry. He looked at her and he said, "Hi." And then he said, "You look amazing." So for those of us romantics, it brought quite a tear to our eyes to see this couple that's very obviously madly in love see each other at the altar for the very first time.
I think it's a really interesting time for the royal family, and I think this marriage sort of cements a transition that's been happening for a while, with the monarchy modernising and moving with the times. If you look back to, 30 years ago, even, divorce was such a taboo. It's no longer a taboo. Our next king and queen are both divorced. So the fact that Harry's now able to marry someone who's been divorced isn't an issue, is a great thing. She's mixed race. But that would have been an issue probably years ago. It isn't anymore. It's great. It means that Harry's wife is going to be much more reflective of society in general than the sort of blue-blooded people who've married into the royal family previously. So I think it's a brilliant thing. But above all of that, they're clearly in love. So that's all the other things are just a bonus in helping to show a much more modern, relevant monarchy.
Everything was a treat for the eyes. Later on that day, Meghan stunned the public again with her wedding reception dress. A halter-neck Stella McCartney gown, so much in fact that the second look almost upstaged the first. When Meghan joined the royal family, it was clear that she would have a big influence on fashion. In June 2018, she reached a milestone, her first solo outing with Her Majesty. And for the event, the new Duchess sported a cream cape dress created by the French fashion house Givenchy. At the 2018 Australian Geographic Society Award in Sydney, she showed up in the most stunning dress by Oscar de la Renta, covered in a unique bird design. On June the 9th, 2018, the newly named Duchess of Sussex made her Buckingham Palace balcony debut at Trooping the Colour. Riding alongside her prince in a horse-drawn carriage, Meghan wore a blush Carolina Herrera dress with button details and a hat by Philip Tracy for the celebration of her new grandmother-in-law's 92nd birthday. Again, a perfect mix of tradition with a modern twist, as it marks the first time any royal woman had bared their shoulders during trooping. For her first royal ascot in 2018, Meghan wore again a chic Givenchy dress, showing everyone she was embracing her life as a royal with grace and style. Whilst she didn't tend to go for bright colours, there have been exceptions. In July 2018, the Duchess attended a reception for the Commonwealth Youth Challenge in London and wore a sunshine yellow dress by Brandon Maxwell. The Meghan effect struck again, with British retailer John Lewis & Partners seeing sales of yellow dresses suddenly increase by a staggering amount. Meghan's accessories never seemed to go unnoticed either.
Meghan is very interesting because the brands she looks for are often more of a household name. She looks for designers that have more of a celebrity appeal, which perhaps reflects her background as a celebrity. One of the pieces that she is particularly associated with, that she really helped to bring into the limelight, is the accessories brand Strathbury and their tote bags. Meghan, like the Queen, is very interested in having a handbag with her, but she favours quite large bags, very big statement pieces, often tote bags, that give her a kind of businesswoman feel, like she's really here to make an effort to try and make a change and do what she can with her position.
October the 15th, 2018 was another major day in royal history. Just before Meghan and Harry began a tour of Australia, they revealed some exciting news. Meghan was pregnant with their first child. Already a style icon, all eyes would now be on her maternity style. The Duchess of Sussex's baby bump fashions remained effortlessly elegant and chic as ever. For the British Fashion Awards in late 2018, Meghan made a surprise appearance to honour the designer of her wedding gown, Claire Waite-Keller, who was receiving the British Women's Wear Designer of the Year award. At the time, pregnant with baby Archie, she wore a sleek, black, one-shouldered gown by the fashion house Keller designed for at the time, Givenchy. With her hair slicked back into a bun, it was a look equally pared down, but still polished.
Meghan announced that she was pregnant just as she was landing in Australia for a very big tour, and I think as the tour went on you slightly saw her belly growing and she would be touching it, and at that point she would be wearing non-maternity clothes, and I think lots of women really like that because you don't always have to just wear maternity specific styles when you're pregnant, so I think lots of people liked that. Meghan really wasn't afraid to show off her bump as well, so she wore some quite bodycon, quite slinky dresses during her pregnancy, but at the same time she also wore kind of big billowing long dresses as well. She had a real variety of maternity styles and really dressed for whatever occasion she was going to.
One theme that I find really interesting is Meghan adopted a lot of patterns, specifically natural patterns, for her visit to Bristol in 2019 when she was pregnant with her son. She opted for an Oscar de la Renta dress that was covered with animals and flowers.
Another way that she kind of avoided traditional maternity dressing was by wearing lots of vintage during her pregnancy. So she had these trapeze-style coats that covered the bump but were 1960s couture creations. So it was a very clever way to dress for the moment, but in a very high fashion way.
In January 2019, for her first royal event of the new year in the UK, she stepped out with Harry in Birkenhead in a bold and colourful new look when she paired a vibrant red coat from Centilla with a deep purple dress. This outfit was a striking and memorable look, and a treat for the public as it evoked a similar look from Princess Diana. That same year, Meghan was named the world's most powerful fashion icon.
Can you tell us what it's like becoming a new mum and tell us a little bit about baby Sussex, as we're calling him?
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and
I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
Tell us a little bit about your son. What's he like? Is he sleeping well, good baby?
Yes, he has the sweetest temperament. He's really calm and
Where he gets that from?
yeah, and he's just been the dream. So it's been a special couple days.
And who does he take after? Does he look like anyone?
You have to do these things for the cameras, you know.
Meghan's sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, and perhaps the most impeccably dressed royal, has also been hugely influential in shaping fashion over the past decade. It is inevitable that the two would be compared. However, they had very different styles. Meghan's style proved to be equally beautiful and elegant, but it stood uniquely on its own, just as the Duchess herself did.
So I think Meghan loves fashion. She's very confident with style, and she has this kind of LA girl background as well. So her natural look is, of course, very different to Kate's. Kate's natural look is home counties, British girl style. So they come from very different backgrounds, and I think they have quite different approaches as well, which also tell us a lot about their roles as well. Of course, Meghan and Harry were less senior members of the royal family, and they've now left the royal family, so they've got a bit more leeway. They can experiment a little bit more. They can take a few more risks with what they're wearing. Whereas for the Duchess of Cambridge, she's really got to be very appropriate, always very mindful of her role as a future queen. And I think she looks very sophisticated, but she's a little bit less daring with what she wears than Meghan might be.
Both women have chosen a very timeless, classic style, but they've come at it from very different angles. The Duchess of Cambridge favours fashion that looks back, that borrows from historical time periods. She enjoys a softer, slightly daintier approach to fashion. She will occasionally borrow from Princess Diana's style repertoire and pay homage to these royal figures that have come before her. Meghan, on the other hand, has chosen a style for herself that is very neutral, that could be from any time going forward. It's not too of the moment, and it will be incredibly versatile, and I'm sure we'll be seeing pieces from today being used long into her career in the public eye.
Meghan found a way to forge her own path and was much more modern than Kate. Of course, Meghan had less pressure, which made it easier for her to bend the rules a little more. She loved tailored pants, loved wearing black, which is unusual for royals, and loved a messy bun, whilst Kate is never with a hair out of place. Meghan also chose not to always wear pantyhose, something Kate always makes sure to do.
She certainly departed from the norms of royal dressing. So there was one incident where she was seen wearing jeans at Wimbledon. You're not really supposed to wear jeans in the royal box at Wimbledon. She wasn't in the royal box at that moment, but you know, it was perhaps seen as quite a casual moment from a member of the royal family to be dressed like that at Wimbledon. She would often not wear tights as well to her engagements. She'd go bare-legged. Again, something most women do every day, but for a royal woman, it's something that is commented on. I think people were also surprised when she did really dress according to royal guidelines. So just after her wedding, we saw her at a royal garden party when she was wearing a pair of tights, and everyone was really quite surprised about this. And you know, the pictures went viral. The fact that she was wearing tights was a huge talking point. So it was almost like whatever Meghan did, everyone was going to talk about it because they were just so fascinated with what she was wearing. Well, there's not a sort of specific guidebook that every royal sort of gets issued with, but I think they pass down through the generations lots of guidance and lots of just ways of doing things. So I think they would always want to be dressed elegantly, quite ladylike, quite conservative. They're not slaves to fashion, they're not following every single trend that you see in Vogue, but they're gently moving with the times in their own special way, while always remaining royal.
In January 2020, Meghan and Harry announced the bombshell news that they were stepping down as working royals and would pursue a more private life. Before their split with the palace became official, the couple had a number of royal engagements left to complete. In June 1994, Princess Diana made jaws drop when she emerged at a Vanity Fair party in an iconic black off-the-shoulder Christina Stambolian cocktail dress and pearl choker, on the very same day her husband, Prince Charles, admitted on national television his affair with Camilla.
Did you try to be faithful and honourable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
And you were?
Yes. Until it became irretrievably broken down. Us both having tried.
A dress is never just a dress when you're a woman in the British royal family. The royals are experts in the art of revenge dressing, showing up to an event in a striking outfit that is so show-stopping that it provokes instant regret from any opposing party. For her final appearances, Meghan wore bright colour dresses, such as at the Mountbatten Music Festival in March 2020. For the event, Harry wore his military uniform and Meghan matched his red coat perfectly in a caped gown by Sophia. The two presented a united front to the crowd. The Endeavour Fund Award in London in March 2020, she wore a bright turquoise blue Victoria Beckham dress. Movie-worthy photos of the beaming pair with rain sprinting all around quickly went viral.
My favourite outfit that Meghan has worn is the beautiful red cape dress that she wore for the Mountbatten Music Festival. She attended with Harry, who was in full uniform, a brilliant scarlet uniform, and her dress matched his uniform exactly. This is something that Meghan and Harry have really adopted since leaving the royal family. The festival happened around the time that they announced their departure. It was one of their final engagements before they departed. They dress similarly to link themselves together, to give a sense of security, and that they are this individual unit that looks out for each other. This is also echoed in the famous green dress that she wore for her final royal engagement. Meghan wore a beautiful green dress, and Harry's suit was lined with the exact same fabric.
It is the day when the royal family celebrate difference and diversity in the Commonwealth. For Harry and Meghan, however, the day was marked by their divergence.
Meghan saved the best for last when she wore the striking green Amelia Wickstead to the Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey on March the 9th, 2020. Her last ever official event as a senior royal, seemingly sending subtle messages for the British monarchy. Until the last day, Meghan couldn't dampen her shine.
Meghan's revenge dress, so to speak, is very, very interesting because Yes, it follows royal regulations. It's very conservative. It doesn't show an awful lot of skin, and she's got a very traditional hat on, but it's also a silhouette that we've never seen anywhere else before, this sort of draped cape look.
In this outfit, Meghan gave a nod to Princess Diana, as her dress resembled an outfit she had worn in 1982 at Trooping the Colour on Buckingham Palace's balcony.
For her final appearance as an official senior member of the royal family, the Duchess of Sussex wore this amazing Amelia Wickstead grass green kind of outfit, and I think it was just a perfect symbol of everything that was going on in that moment. So it had this beautiful cape detail which almost sort of fluttered behind Meghan as she walked out of the church, and it was as if she was actually flying away, and that's how the outfit made her look. But I think the green colour was very clever as well. You know, it's a calming colour. It shows renewal, it shows new growth ahead. So I think it was a very optimistic statement after what had been quite a fraught time. But she also just looked incredibly sophisticated, incredibly chic in that moment as well. She'd made such a huge effort, and I think it was a really lovely way to end that chapter of their lives.
Meghan's newfound liberty was showcased in the recent tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey in early March 2021, where she made the choice to wear a black Armani silk dress with lotus flowers climbing her shoulder. The colour black was suitable for the sombre tone of the interview, and the lotus flowers almost spoke louder than the interview itself. The memorable dress was selected as Bath's Fashion Museum's Dress of the Year for 2021.
For her infamous Oprah interview when she was pregnant with her daughter, she opted for a dress that had flowers cascading over the shoulder. I think it really represents the kind of feel of that period, a time of rebirth, of life.
After stepping down from the limelight and settling into their new life in Montecito, California, Meghan returned to a more casual style, a style she continues to rock to this day. Her recent outings suggest Meghan's post-royal wardrobe is more playful, relaxed and down-to-earth.
After leaving the royal family, Meghan stopped patronising British brands and British designers as much as she had done before. But what she has started to do is think really carefully about who is making her clothes. For example, we're seeing her use a lot more up-and-coming black designers, for example, and giving them a platform that they might not have had before. It's a very blended look. She's still retained some of that style, some of those pieces that she had when she was a working member of the family, but she's allowed herself to be more casual, to have more fun with her clothes, and to keep up with current trends a little bit more than what the royal family is sort of expected to do.
I think Meghan really used her fashion to remind us that she was no longer in the royal family. So we saw lots of snapshots of her in very casual outfits, actually, you know, wearing ripped jeans, wearing relaxed shirts, but also at home in California, wearing big relaxed sundresses as well. These were outfits that you would never see on the kind of Buckingham Palace balcony, but were really her way of showing that she had a new life and that she was dressing for that new life.
During her highly anticipated visit to Europe for the first time in 2 years in April 2022, Meghan made her grand entrance at the Invictus Games by wearing an all-white suit.
Since leaving the royal family, Meghan has opted for the colour white for a lot of the major events that she's appeared at. When she attended the Invictus Games in 2022, she opted for an oversized white suit, and at the Thanksgiving service for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, she also opted for a white Dior coat dress. I think white is a very poignant colour for Meghan. In the American political sphere, white is often adopted by female politicians as a way to honour the suffragist movement. It's really become a symbol of empowerment for women. So it's very poignant that she's chosen to wear it for some of the probably most difficult events that she's attended since leaving the royal life. Royal women began wearing suits around the time that the Duchess of Sussex joined the family, and I think this is one of the things that makes royal weddings so interesting. The biggest changes in royal fashion happen when someone new joins the family. They bring a different perspective on what that role looks like. So for Meghan, it was about an almost political wardrobe, a very business-like approach. So lots of power suits and statement coats. These were then picked up by the Duchess of Cambridge, who herself was responsible for bringing lots of changes into the world of royal fashion. It was her that brought the concept of high street fashion into the royal lexicon.
I think it's a sign of her knowing what's modern, what looks good. It might not be what royal women of the past have worn, but she has a sense that this is what's right for now. And so we've really seen her embracing tailoring, and she looks amazing in it. And I think she's made trousers look royal, and I think that's been a very clever development for royal style. For the Platinum Jubilee, there'd been so much build-up about Harry and Meghan's attendance at the celebrations. Would they steal all the limelight? Would there be some big family drama? There was so much kind of build-up and tension around it all. So for Harry and Meghan's kind of big moment appearance during the celebrations, Meghan chose to wear a Dior couture outfit in a very muted greige tone, so this kind of grey meets beige colour. Again, it was very subtle look. Lots of other members of the royal family were wearing very bright colours, so it really stood out in a way that she was wearing more of a neutral shade. I also thought it was very interesting that the whole outfit was created by Dior, a French fashion house, a favourite of Princess Margaret. I think it's quite an almost kind of rebellious choice, but also a very fashion-forward one, and she looked beautiful, but I think it didn't take away all the attention off the other members of the royal family, which was very clever.
Meghan Markle's fashion choices often caught the eye of royal fans, with many of the items she wore selling out soon after. Fans looking to emulate her fashion have crashed websites and pelted inventory in mere moments. The 50th anniversary of Prince Charles's investiture at Buckingham Palace, Meghan wore a gold brocade dress. Within 24 hours, that dress triggered a 500% increase in demand.
It has everything to do with how we're taught about the world when we're growing up. We often learn about different periods in history by talking about the royals that led them. We talk about the Tudor period, the Georgian period, the Victorian period. And while the royals might not define completely that time period, they make up our image of that time. So I think the reason we're interested in what they wear is because we're sort of interested in seeing how we're going to be seen in 100, 200, 500 years' time. Meghan hasn't played into traditional royal styles quite as much as other members of the family have. She's maintained her personal style from her time out of the royal family, just at a slightly more professional level, which means there are lots of items similar to hers available in the wider market, and they also feel more practical for the average woman.
I think lots of women will relate to the clothes that Meghan was wearing in the royal family. I think that, you know, she would wear jeans, she would wear more relaxed shirts and blazers. She would put together the kinds of outfits that lots of women might wear on the weekend or to work or on holiday. But she would have her big designer moments as well. So she really kind of juggled different messages with her wardrobe.
Meghan really opened the door for encouraging the royal women to not get so hung up about sticking to tradition. She sort of encouraged them to think about the ways they could reinvent what formal royal fashion meant, whether this meant introducing suits to royal fashion or simply looking for new ways to style a coat dress.
As she became an idol for women across the world, Meghan's style has developed and grown in the public eye just as she has. Her style was a representation of her innermost self. She might no longer be royalty, but she is still as inspiring as before. She creates her own trends, and the clothing she wears is more accessible and personable for her loyal fans. One thing is for sure, Meghan Markle seems to meet the fashion moment wherever she goes, making a bold statement every time she stands out in a crowd. The Duchess of Sussex enjoyed a whirlwind romance and the ultimate fairy tale wedding, and she maintained royal tradition while adding a distinctly modern flair to her fashion. Her personal style, without doubt, glamorous, chic, classic, and ever-evolving.
The brilliant thing about royal style is the fact that it's a fantasy. It doesn't represent the real world. There is a moment of escapism. There's something so magical about seeing the royals in a beautiful dress and a tiara or in a chic coat dress. It really does make you feel like you're looking at someone from a fairy tale. It's just so exciting to see what they're going to do in the future.